What if your bank account ceased to exist tomorrow? Imagine waking up to a message from your bank, not a fraud alert, not a maintenance notice, a message telling you that the account you've used for 20 years no longer exists because the thing it held isn't really used that way anymore. That's not a prediction for some distant century. Pieces of it are already happening. Somewhere right now, a family is receiving disaster relief that literally cannot be spent on anything but food and medicine. The money itself enforces the rule. So here's the real question. If the money in your pocket is starting to think, what happens to you? What happens when money becomes smarter than the people using it? For thousands of years, money has changed shape. It started as shells, became gold, then paper, then numbers on a screen. Most of us still think money is something we earn, save, and spend. But the next transformation may be much bigger than that. To understand where we're heading, there are 3 ideas that matter more than anything else. First, money is becoming invisible. Every year, less of our economic life happens with physical cash and more happens through digital networks. In countries like Sweden and China, entire neighborhoods can go days without a single banknote changing hands. Children growing up today may one day look at coins the way we look at ancient artifacts. Second, money is becoming programmable. For the first time in history, currency itself can contain rules. Imagine receiving disaster relief that can only be spent on food and medicine, or a business loan that automatically adjusts its interest rate based on economic conditions. Money is slowly transforming from a passive object into an active system. Third, the relationship between work and wealth may be rewritten. For centuries, most people exchanged time for money, but artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation are beginning to challenge that equation. If machines produce an ever-growing share of society's wealth, humanity will eventually face a difficult question. Who owns the value created by intelligent machines? These changes are not science fiction. They're already happening. Central banks around the world are experimenting with digital currencies. Millions of people own cryptocurrencies. Teenagers make money from online communities that didn't even exist 10 years ago. Entire economies are emerging inside video games and virtual worlds, where digital assets can sometimes be worth more than physical ones. The definition of wealth itself is starting to shift. For most of human history, wealth meant land, factories, or natural resources. In the future, it could mean energy, data, creativity, trust, and attention. The most valuable company of the next century might own very few buildings, but billions of relationships. Attention was once measured in views, likes, and impressions. Yet the more intelligence becomes digital, the more human scarcity shifts elsewhere. One day, the most valuable act may simply be showing up, occupying the same room, sharing the same moment, proving that behind the signal, someone real still exists. Of course, every revolution carries risks. If money becomes entirely digital, enormous power could concentrate in the hands of governments, banks, and technology companies. Privacy could become a luxury. Inequality could widen if only a small group controls the machines producing most of the world's wealth. Most money today is already nothing more than numbers moving between databases. The deeper change is this: money is becoming intelligent, programmable, and increasingly independent from the people who own it. True wealth has never been only about buying things. It decides who gets access, who gets time, who feels secure, and who gets to shape the future. Imagine a future in which every person on Earth has a digital wallet connected to a global economic network. Artificial intelligence manages investments, pays taxes automatically, and negotiates prices in real time. Your personal AI might earn money while you sleep, buying and selling energy, computing power, or intellectual property across the planet. It sounds almost unbelievable. Yet 2 centuries ago, explaining online banking to a farmer would have sounded equally absurd. Today, instead, the hybrid money is made by governments, banks, AI, and blockchain merging together as an evolving, interacting organism. While it feels a bit abstract to grasp, there is no doubt this silent revolution creates extraordinary possibilities. The new monetary system could bring unprecedented abundance. Automation could dramatically reduce the cost of food, energy, and transportation, allowing people to spend less time surviving and more time creating, learning, and caring for one another. Another future could unlock human potential on a scale we've never seen. Artists, teachers, and inventors might be supported by new economic systems that reward imagination as much as productivity. Children could grow up believing that curiosity is not a luxury, but one of humanity's greatest assets. The way we approach jobs as highly specialistic, isolated silos might evolve into the need for multifaceted generalists with polymath interests. But the most radical possibility is that money itself stops being the center of our lives. For thousands of years, survival shaped civilization. People organized their days around earning enough to live. But if technology eventually provides abundance, humanity may face an entirely different challenge. Discovering what gives life meaning when survival is no longer our main occupation. Entire professions may disappear faster than societies can adapt. Millions of people could wake up asking a question previous generations never had to face. If my labor is no longer essential, does my dignity come from existence? And then there is a wilder possibility. Universal basic income becomes possible when artificial intelligence, robotics, and automation eventually produce far more wealth than human labor alone. In a world where machines build products, drive vehicles, manage logistics, and even perform intellectual tasks, governments could tax part of this enormous productivity and redistribute a basic monthly income to every citizen, regardless of employment status. The idea is not to eliminate work, but to separate survival from employment. People would still be free to earn more, start businesses, and pursue ambitious goals, while everyone would receive enough to cover their fundamental needs. In this scenario, money generated by increasingly autonomous economies would flow back to society, giving humans more security, time, and freedom to focus on creativity, relationships, and personal growth. Eventually, the greatest transformation may not be that money becomes intelligent, but that humanity becomes wise enough to remember what money was supposed to serve, and therefore, what kind of future we choose to fund. Those who understand change before it becomes ordinary have a rare opportunity, not merely to prepare for the future, but to help shape it. Follow Future Peaks as we continue exploring the forces quietly transforming humanity.